Hey all, it's been a pretty calm week. There was one game, and then there wasn't anything super big. But first things first, the day before the Dallas game, the Jackets picked up Yossi Jokinen off of waivers from the LA Kings. He was a shootout specialist, he had 1/3 of his goals in the power play, and he can play all three forward positions. He centered on Thursday, and I don't think they're going to move him from there if we have no center depth. He's a 53.5% in faceoffs, which sounds maybe kind of low, but our average is 47.3, which is 28th in the NHL. At the same time as this move, the Jackets put Milano on IR for an oblique injury, and Mott was called up from the AHL. So the Jackets made a lot of moves on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, they went out there and they looked pretty good. Korpisalo, especially, he looked godlike, honestly. He played Bob-level hockey. I'm a Korpisalo fan, as I've said, and will probably say again, but I've heard people saying, Korpisalo will be Bob after Bob retires or gets too expensive for us, or we could have a 1A, 1B tandem type thing. And as much as I like him, as much as I think that he's good and has a lot of potential, didn't think that he was anywhere near close to being ready for that. But now, especially after that save in the second period, he might be. I hope that he gets to play more games in the coming years, maybe even the coming months. I hope that he continues to develop at the rate that he is, and I hope he's a Jacket for years to come. Some other great things in the game. Schrader scored his first NHL goal and his first goal as a Blue Jacket in the first period when he got a really, really nice look at the goal. I think it was his only shot on goal that was marked down, but better one really good one than absolutely none, I think, or a bunch of really bad ones. Ben Bishop's just huge, so I can understand why it didn't go in. We got the 2 points in the shootout. Brett scored the only shootout goal, and it was just nice. The shots on goal were generally low, only 26, which is just, I think, a little bit weird for the Jackets. But Bishop's a giant in the net, so maybe they were shooting wide they were trying to get in really small spaces. I don't know. I think that it was a good game to bounce back, show everyone that came back from the bye week ready to go and ready to fight, which is important. Really important after how they played early January. There wasn't a ton else this week. The Jackets got goaltender Jeff Zikoff from LA for future considerations and sent forward John Ramage to Arizona for the same. They immediately assigned Zikoff to Cleveland. I've seen on Twitter that the Monsters have had goalie issues, but I don't really pay a ton of attention to Monsters games much, so I can't really say much on that. A general update on the Johnson thing: there are no hard feelings. Johnson got a standing ovation when they called his name in the Dallas game. He looked decent playing with savvy, and Torts, an old-fashioned coach, loves his old-fashioned defenseman still. Everyone seems to really value his honesty and openness in asking for a trade to help his family, even though they all still think that he should just play better with the Jackets and not try and go somewhere else. I don't think the Jackets are going to rush trading him, and I can't think of anyone who'd really want him and have what the Jackets would need back, even though I've heard people saying Toronto and Edmonton might be interested. I don't know. Speaking of people staying with the Jackets, Brian Hedger said earlier that all expected Jackets made the trip, along with Atkinson and Dubinsky, even though neither of them are going to play. However, he also said that Murray and Milano did not. But going by their Instagram stories, they both found their own ways there in the end. So if you were worried that all the boys wouldn't get to spend time in Vegas, then don't. They're all there. The Jackets got into Vegas on Saturday and have been there. There's a really large group of Jackets supporters, so I hope you guys, if you're down there right now, are all having a fantastic time as well. Tortorella said that he wants the boys to go out, and then he wants them to play guilty, and that's why they got in 4 days early. Also, to adjust to the time zone, but, He also just trusts the boys and doesn't think that he has to or should babysit them. Portsline said in an article that Torts has said before that if he can't trust a guy to be ready by the time the puck drops, then they shouldn't be on the bus in the first place. A coach showing that kind of trust in a team is really nice, especially because Vegas has been a boogeyman at home. The Vegas flu hits teams super hard. The atmosphere has been described as similar to Nashville, which I can tell you firsthand is overwhelming. And just generally, they're very, very good. Shockingly good. This game should be a good test to see if the Jackets can really work at it and win a game, if they've really bounced back after the bye week, or if they're still the mid-December Jackets that we all know and fear. Of course, though, the big story that everyone really cares about for this game is William Karlsson. Wild Bill was a third or fourth line center in Columbus, got sent away to protect Anderson, Johnson, Korpisalo, etc. in the expansion draft, and also to get rid of Clarkson's LTIR contract. And it was worth it. But he's been tearing it up with the Vegas Golden Misfits ever since. He's, I think, first line there. He scored the first ever Golden Knights hat trick, and he has more goals this season than he's had in his entire NHL career combined. It's led people to asking, were we crazy to let him go? It's an interesting question for sure. I think it's one worth exploring, but I think that Bob McElligott said it best in the CBJ in 30. William Karlsson would not have done the same thing with Columbus. He is a good player, obviously, but he needed Vegas to be like this and produce like this. He couldn't have done it in Columbus. We wouldn't have been able to give him the space nor the people to help him do that. Like, just look at how low producing our team has been this year. There's just no way it would have happened. It's really unfortunate, but he's having the best season of his life in Vegas, and I don't think he would here. It was the right choice. But enough about Vegas. The Metro Watch. We're third in the Metro with 55 points in 47 games. Above us are the Caps with 61 points and the Devils with 56, though they've done it in 45 games. Below us in the wildcard spots are the Flyers with 54 points and the Rangers, who are just barely in with 53 points in 48 games. One less game than the Penguins took to get to the same number of points. The overall point gap between the top and the bottom in the Metro is 11, though the gap between second space and the 7th is 4. That's 2 games. The only other division that is close to our situation is the Central. I think they have about 13-point gap. Even then, their middling teams are not nearly as close as ours are. After the Vegas game, we've got Arizona on Thursday, the All-Star game on Sunday, and Minnesota next Tuesday. Then January is over. Dubinsky is close to back. Cam thinks he might be able to get doctor's approval to come back early, even if Murr's back injury has been much more long-lasting than expected, seeing as he's been out day to day for nearly 2 months. I think that we've got this. We're almost out of the woods. Hopefully, knock on wood. We're halfway through the season in 3rd place. I think we can do this. And that is it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like if you liked this. Click subscribe if you loved it. I'm Lydia. This is Cannon Fire. And let's beat the Vegas flu.